What's up, guys? Welcome to a hype episode, probably. So it's launch day. R5 Mark II just came out. I set my alarm for 3 a.m. this morning because I was in Phoenix, and I pre-ordered it at 3:01. So that's the first thing. A lot of people have been asking me, am I going to get it? Am I going to get the R1? What do I think? Why am I getting it? I didn't really think I would have this many questions this fast, like already. But the questions keep coming in, so I'm kind of going to try to just answer them, go over my thoughts. I have maybe some hot takes or just maybe a couple slightly different things that I'm thinking about in terms of how I'm going to use it and my pros and cons than maybe everybody else. I don't know. I haven't watched anybody else's videos. I'm sure they're already up. But let's just jump into it. So first off, R5 versus R1. I'm personally definitely going with the R5 Mark II. I don't think I need the R1. Obviously, if I was rich, I'd love to have it, but I'm not. I've been saving up for a long time for this R5 Mark II. I also decided last minute that I'm not going to sell my R5 in order to help pay for it. I was able to, luckily enough, save up enough, but it's going to be nice to have the R5 as a backup, and then Camera Lady has the R6 Mark II, which is what I'm filming with. So it'll be nice to have the R5 as a backup, plus that'll probably help me do some comparisons and stuff like that for videos, future things, but mostly just for my own personal use. It'll be nice to have the R5 as a backup. I'm not going to go over a full list. Obviously, that's all over the internet right now. Everybody's talking about it. I'm just going to start with some pros and cons for myself personally, and maybe because maybe there's some more people out there like me who might shoot similarly, and then we'll go from there. So pros, things that got me interested in it, like why would I pre-order it? Obviously, I'll be honest with you guys. Like first off, I mostly pre-ordered it. Like I would say 80+% of the reason why I pre-ordered it is for you guys, is for my YouTube channel, and that's a big revenue stream for me. It's a big draw to my channel, so it's obviously I'm hoping that it's going to do well. I don't mind telling you guys that. I'm not afraid of that being a reason why I'm purchasing gear. Obviously, I am a full-time professional photographer as well. If you didn't know, I am. I shoot a lot of different things, and I think the R5 Mark II is definitely going to help with those things. However, I'm telling you, like if it wasn't for the YouTube channel, would I upgrade? I really honestly can't answer that. That would be too tough to call because I'm not unhappy with my R5 and my R6 Mark II. Together, I think they make a great pair, and they do pretty much everything that I need to do professionally. So you guys, the YouTube is definitely 80% of the reason why I've been saving up for 6 months and why I'm going ahead and getting the R5 Mark II as soon as possible. But other reasons, of course, actual like legit usable reasons, I'm definitely first and foremost AF. I'm looking forward to potentially better autofocusing than the R5. I never thought the R5 was particularly bad or a slouch, and it's not. This is a relative term, right? You have to understand relativity, where I'm coming from and what I'm using. I never thought it was bad. It's way better than anything else, before it, of course. But then I got the R6 Mark II, and the R6 Mark II's autofocus to me is far superior than the R5. I get shots with the R6 II that I just can't get with my R5, and that I have noticeably missed, stuff like that. So if it will at least match the R6 Mark II, the R3, whatever, then, and if it's any better than that, I'm fully stoked. The AF alone, right there for me, personally, that's going to be worth it. Because I had people ask me the same thing for the R6 versus the R6 Mark II, is it worth upgrading? And that's always been my answer. For me, it was definitely worth upgrading the R6 Mark II because of the autofocus alone, and let alone the other features. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about R5 II. So AF is number one. Number two, of course, stack sensor. I'm very stoked about the stack sensor and that's going to reduce a lot of that rolling shutter. It's not going to eliminate it completely. I understand that. I'm fine. I personally haven't had a huge issue with the R5. Not like I did with the R7, of course, but that's a different beast. I've been mostly happy with the R5, but I will very much welcome the stack sensor and the reduced rolling shutter even further with the R5 II. Next up for me, C-Log 2. And I don't know, like, I know a lot of you guys don't do video, and I know there's a few people out there, there's a loud vocal minority who really hate video and who are adamant that Canon doesn't know what they're doing and needs to make stills only cameras, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about those people. I'm sorry if you're one of them. I am a hybrid shooter, not just because of my YouTube, but because of my professional life. I shoot a lot of professional client, commercial, that kind of video on my mirrorless cameras. And the R5 has been the absolute best for that so far. The R5 and the R6 Mark II. I'm going to get into more video features. I'm going to touch on a couple of them in different ways, I think. But I will mention them. But for starters, C-Log 2, I'm very excited about that. If you don't know what log is, it doesn't matter. It's a cinema profile. It makes it look grayer. It gives you more dynamic range. You can color grade it better. It's just great. And C-Log 2 is kind of the best of the best in the Canon world. Very excited to have C-Log 2. I have heard that the only video that I saw was Peter McKinnon's, of course, and he said that the blacks in the video, just the regular video of the R5, the noise reduction looks better. So as a video person myself, also very excited about that. And that's something that I didn't know until I watched his video. Next up for me is the ability to shoot stills and video at the same time. I don't know anything about that feature other than I just read it and saw that in Pete's video. That makes me very potentially excited because like when I'm doing wildlife, not just when it's hard for us to make wildlife videos for you guys. I don't know if you know that or not, but it's very difficult to make wildlife YouTube videos. It's very hard. And a lot of times we have to sacrifice one or the other, or we have to do multiple days or whatever. Like it's hard enough to switch back and forth between stills and video and prioritize like, hey, do I need to get this for a B-roll, for a video clip, or do I need to get the photo to post to Instagram or to put the photo in the video? If there's a way that I can do both and have them like super high quality at the same time, that could be amazing. So fingers crossed that feature pans out. I would definitely test it out. I'm looking forward to trying it. I think most people are excited about 30 frames per second. Okay, I'll take it. I'm not mad about it. I'm not losing, I'm not going bananas over it either. I don't use it that much on the R6 Mark II. I'm happy with 20 frames a second most of the time. I will take it. I will be shooting in C-RAW. A couple of years ago, I put both my cameras, the R5 and the R6 Mark II, in C-RAW, and I've been shooting C-RAW ever since. So I'm going to continue to do that with the R5 too, just to keep those file sizes down. Hopefully that helps the buffer. They said the buffer is increased. That's cool. I'll take it. But the big pro that I'm excited about is pre-capture. So, Canon has done pre-capture before. It hasn't gone over so well with a lot of people, including myself. I don't use it in the Canon mode. And if you guys don't know, I tested out the OM1 Mark II a little while back, and that was one of the things that I actually really loved about it was how they did their pre-capture. So if it can be anywhere closer to that, I'll be very excited if it's more usable. I don't know the details of the pre-capture yet, but I will be looking into that, and I will be excited to try it out and hope for the best that it's implemented better than previous Canon pre-captures. The eye autofocus, I'll probably never use it. People are already asking me about it. I don't know. I'll probably try it out for a video or something for you guys, but without having the camera and without having tried it, I'm going into it not pessimistically, but just I don't think I'll be using that feature. Maybe I'll prove myself wrong, we'll see. But right now, that's not something that I'm specifically stoked about. Bigger EVF, I know a lot of people are interested in that. I'll take it. Again, I don't have any problems with the R5 or the R6 II's EVF. I don't have any problems with them. I look through it, I use it, it's fine. So a better one, great, I'll take it. I'll definitely take it. All right, so let's talk about a couple of cons, or at least a couple of things that I might be frustrated with, and maybe a couple of those surprised me a little bit. First off, the biggest potential con for me is the video stills switchy button. And it's a bummer because we want that, we need that, it does help. Especially if you're a hybrid shooter like me, being able to just one click and then switch it back into video is really important. However, I discovered this with the R6 Mark II. Personally, I feel like they put it on the wrong side. So they put it on the left side where I have to use my left hand. For a wildlife shooter, that's really difficult if you've got, big lenses like that and you're holding, and I don't ever shoot with a tripod. Pretty much everything I do is handheld when it comes to filming and wildlife stuff, especially wildlife. So I'm always going to have my hand out here, and if I have to take it off to switch to video, that's going to suck. That's going to suck bad. And I know that because I've already had that experience with the R6 Mark II. One thing that I will be curious to see is, so they put the switch there, but one of the things that I love the most about the original R5 is the multifunction button that's right next to the trigger. So that's this button right here, right there. That's that button, not the trigger, this button. So on the original R5, because they have the mode, the digital mode dial instead of this turny mode dial that I don't like, you can program the multifunction button to switch to video and have it in, set up. In my case, I usually have it in either 4K 60 or 4K 120, and then one click, bam, I'm in the video mode that I need, and I can go from there. So the R5 Mark II, having the switchy thing over here on the wrong side, I wonder if we'll also still be able to do it with the multifunction button the way that we can with the original R5. So I'm very curious to try that out, because one click over here on the right side of the camera with my pointer finger is just absolutely perfect for it's the easiest, fastest way to switch into a video mode and get what I need to get as a hybrid shooter. So a little bit bummed that they kept that on the wrong side. Another thing of interest, I think, is the batteries. I just found out like half an hour ago about the LP6P batteries, and that not only are they different slightly, should be backwards compatible, whatever, but not only are they different slightly, but you need them apparently to run pre-capture and maybe some of the other video modes or whatever. I don't know the extent of all the certain features in the R5 Mark II that you're going to need the P battery for, but I do know that you're going to need them, and you're going to need extras. So I pre-ordered the R5 Mark II at 3:01 this morning, and I didn't know about the battery. So I just pre-ordered the battery right now, and it's like noon. So hopefully at some point I'll get a battery. I don't know when, but I mean, obviously it comes with one, I'm sure. So I'll have one, but the ones that I pre-ordered as the backups, those may or may not get here at launch for me with whenever my camera shows up. So keep that in mind. A lot of people talk about the grips. I'm not a grippy kind of person, so I'm not going to be getting a grip. It's just not something I want. I know the extra battery life is great, especially for filmers, and I know the ergonomics of holding the grip is nice, and if you get a grip with the side rotating buttons, that's nice too. The new grip with the coolie bit, even though I do a lot of video and that could be useful, again, it's just not something that I'll probably ever use, and especially it's not something that I want to drop $500 on. So if you end up getting the grip, let me know how that goes, because I won't be testing that or using that at all. That being said, I will be able to report how well the camera does with heating or overheating with just by itself without the fancy coolie grip. So that is something I will be focused on, because the R5 overheating is definitely an issue for me. Even the R6 Mark II overheating is an issue for me. However, with the newer firmware updates and all that stuff for the past couple of years, I get the overheat warning, but I haven't ever had it shut down since the newer firmware updates on either one of the cameras. So they'll get hot, but they'll continue to work, and I can get the job done usually. And it hasn't been that big of an issue since the firmware updates for the past couple of years. So at least hopefully the R5 Mark II will be in a similar boat. At least it will come already with some solid firmware that will not completely just shut the camera down. But I do live in the desert. I live in New Mexico. It's very hot a lot of the time, especially now during the summer and the early fall. And it's just when I'm using, especially when I'm using 4K 60, 4K 120, it gets hot in those modes, So we'll see how it does without the coolie bits natively. So I think that'll be good. I don't know if they said this already or if it's in the nomenclature anywhere, but I'm really hoping that there's no record limit. Like the R5 original still has a 30-minute recording limit. The R6 II, the R7 do not, and I love them for it. I think the last con, I think a lot of people will probably see this as a con, is the price increase. I think a lot of people were expecting it to be $39.99, and then it comes out $300 above that at $4,300. And this is for all US people, of course. I really feel bad for anyone that's going to be paying even more above that in other countries. That I'm so sorry. That definitely hurts my soul. But even in the US, I think a lot of people are a little shocked by, the increase, especially because we also thought the R1 was going to come in at like 6,500, and then the R1 comes in a couple $100 below that. So maybe squeezing in those few hundred extra bucks is really going to help them recoup some R&D or something. But that kind of begs the question, I think, for a lot of people. Like, already it was expensive. The R5 series is not a cheap, it's not something that a lot of people can just go pick up. And then adding that extra few $100, and then you couple that with, okay, the R5 Mark II is now more expensive than I thought, and then you couple that with, I got to get a battery, and if you're down with the grips and all that stuff, then you need a grip too. You're looking at a lot of money now, all of a sudden, versus now the R5 is kind of really dropping in price. There's going to be a lot more used R5s on the market, places like MPB, eBay, whatever, Craigslist. Don't do Craigslist, people. R5s are going to be going down, and it's like I said, it's no slouch. I'm still in 2024. I'm still very happy with mine. I'm so happy with it that I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to keep using it. And that makes it really hard to say, wow, is it worth it? The massive price increase or the price difference from an R5 that prices are going down on to an R5 Mark II that the prices are even higher than maybe some of us thought they would be. Obviously, I can't answer that. That's situationally specific for you, and that's relative to how much you care about photography and your finances and that kind of thing. I told you why it was worth it for me, mostly because of you guys. But I would surmise that for most people, maybe getting an R5, if you don't already have an R5, maybe getting an R5 instead of whatever it is you have, this might be a great time to do it. And I don't think you'll be super sad with an R5 either. I think it's still a great camera, and I'm still pumping out great stuff with it. If you only have one body, like if you have an R5 or if you have, something less than an R5 right now, and you like to do video too, then I would definitely 100% say an R5 Mark II is worth the upgrade. If you can comfortably afford that. Like, please don't put yourself in debt for this, if you don't need to. But if you can comfortably afford maybe selling off your R5 and putting that towards, an R5 Mark II, and you're a hybrid shooter like me, then I think, yeah, that's definitely worth it. If you're just a stills shooter and you already have an R5, that's hard. I can't help you there. I feel bad for you. I don't know if that price is worth it. If you have an R6 Mark II, is an R5 Mark II worth it? I think really only if you want the megapixels. The R6 Mark II is an incredible camera. It's just some people have an issue with 24 megapixels. I do not. If you're not new to the channel, you will know what I think about megapixels. Even though I am buying an R5 Mark II and I have an R5, I love megapixels. I just don't worship them, and I don't have any misguided judgments about them and about realistic client expectations about megapixels either. And even with the R5 Mark II coming out, I still submit right now in 2024, an R6 Mark II is still the best camera that Canon makes all around. And I consider that for the price because it has 90+% of what an R5 Mark II is going to have, minus the megapixels, a few other fancy features, but it has the autofocus, it has no record limits, it has, the works. It's an amazing camera, and the fact that it's going to be half the price of an R5 Mark II, I still maintain that the R6 Mark II is the best overall value. Although I know the R5 Mark II is going to sell like hotcakes. I'm fairly confident that's going to do just fine. So I know that wasn't everything. I just wanted to get that stuff out of my head and see what you guys think about what I think, if anybody cares. If you stuck around this long to hear what I think, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much. And you can definitely like and subscribe if you haven't already, because that definitely helps. Channel memberships, if you want extra content, amazing way to support the channel. Workshops, I have a lot of workshops. Coincidentally, the biggest reason for people taking my workshops, and I usually ask people this, like, how did you find me when they come to workshops for me in the past 4 years? almost everybody, not everybody, but almost everybody has found me through my videos on the R5. Either my setup videos, my vlog videos, my landscape, my astro, my wildlife videos, whatever. I put out a lot of R5 videos in the last 4 years. And most people who end up like subscribing and then, wanting to take a workshop with me, almost all of them have come there because of the R5. So I'm going to end with that. That is a massive reason for me to want to personally get the R5 Mark II, is so that I can continue to make videos on it, to stay relevant, to grow my channel, to help as many people as I can help you guys, and to hope that you'll sign up for workshops, because not only is it the funnest thing that I do, I love my workshops, but it's definitely the best thing monetarily for my business. So I really appreciate that also. So on that note, I'll plug a couple workshops. New Mexico Fall Workshop, very stoked about that. New Mexico is a hidden gem. Northern New Mexico, it's the same as Colorado, but there's no people. And I know all the best spots. And I also have an R5 Mark II and a lot of cool stuff that if you want to take my workshop and play with, you're welcome to. Scotland workshop next May 2024. There are 2 spots left on that for seascapes and seabirds, puffins, castles, private resort, all inclusive. It's amazing. I just got back from it. It's the best thing ever. So 2 spots left on that. Very stoked. You can sign up for the newsletter. I'll have more info on all the workshops and some, I try to do two newsletters a month. So it's not overwhelming for everybody, but just to keep you updated. So you can go to my website and sign up for the newsletter if you're interested in that kind of stuff. And now I want to know what you're interested in. Like I'm not just one of those people who says, comment just because it helps my video, which it does. But you guys know, like, I'm down there in the comments. I love reading every single one of them. I love engaging. I genuinely want to know what the mindset is of this R5 Mark II. Where's your head at? You thinking about it? Or you thinking about getting something else because now it's hopefully going to drive prices down for other things? Plus, it helps the community. It's just not just satisfying my curiosity, but it helps the community. So let us all know what you think. Let me know what you think, and I'll be down there in the comments soon. I've got some really cool outdoorsy stuff coming, and I'm really looking forward to it. All right, that's it. I'll see you in the next one.